Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
Andrew McCart, IFLTV. Sam Jones, I said before I pushed record there, it's been a while, mate. It's almost like we used to speak all the time. It's almost, I feel like a jaded lover. You know what I mean? I feel like you've left me for some other, I don't know. What's been happening with you, mate? You've been busy, obviously.
No, I did 2 interviews yesterday, and yeah, it just I don't know.
Well, listen, we're back. Listen, I've got a hold of you. Yeah. And I suppose we spoke as well that the last real show I done was the 5v5 show in Saudi, the proper show. And we spoke that it's been quite quiet, the boxing world of late. But hopefully it's starting to, it looks like September, we're going to kick off with a Wembley card and so on. And we've got Taylor Prograis, Cattle Prograis in October and so on and so forth. So we're starting to pick up. Hopefully the tail end of this year we'll get there. But like I said, there's a lot to talk about, including the announcement of the Bivol Beterbiev undercard. But I'm going to start with Sam and get your thoughts on Shakur Stevenson signing with Matchroom. I mean, I was probably.
I thought you were going to start with Johnny Fisher then, Andrew.
I was going to save the best to the last, mate.
So Shakur Stevenson is somebody who I've followed since he turned professional. I've always said, and listen, he's not there yet, but I've always said that if this guy's promoted right, he's in the right fights, he can be a pound for pound great, and I still believe that because I think he's won every fight in autopilot so far. He beat Oscar Valdez, and people forget that. And Oscar Valdez was hot at the time, right? He was beating everybody, and Shakur played with him, beat him easy. So people just don't realize how good this kid is, and I think Shakur, he can beat all of them. I really do believe that. Special talent, amazing signing from Matchroom. Outside of the Canelo AJ, it's Matchroom's best signing ever.
Yeah, that's quite a statement. Obviously, it brings me on nicely to the announcement of the Bivol Beterbiev undercard, because I heard some people saying online that it's undesirable and it's this, that, and the next thing. But
Andrew, to be honest with you, it wound me up. To be honest, I'm just like, I'm not going to go off. It's Saturday. I've had a long day. Everybody has to understand, right? And I'll use it as an example. Floyd Mayweather, right, when he used to box, even like maybe Anthony Joshua cards, right? You can't get the depth when you have to pay the main events so much money. Now, Bivol Beterbiev is a main event on its own, a pay-per-view fight on its own. It's a brilliant fight. The fight that is probably the best fight in world boxing, right? You've then got underneath that Shakur Stevenson against Joe Cordina. And I've seen a few people trying to shit on that fight. Joe Cordina, people trying to speak of Joe Cordina as if he's a dud. Joe Cordina has lost once in his whole life, and he was fucked at the weight, right? That's just the fact. It's not crapping on Kakachi's win. Kakachi was brilliant in that fight, and he deserves all his flowers for that. But Cordina was fucked at the weight, and everybody that knows the situation knows that he's been struggling for a while to make that weight. Joe Cordina is a proven world-class fighter, 2-time world champion, and he's fighting Shakur Stevenson. Shakur's the favourite, definitely, but people can't speak of Joe Cordina as if he's some dud. I find it staggering. Moving on to the card, because I forget some of the ones that are on it. I know you've got your Liam Cameron against Ben Whittaker. Yeah, Ben Whittaker, huge favourite in that fight. But how can you begrudge Liam Cameron of the story that he's had? So fair play there. You've got Sky Nicholson against Raven Chapman. Evenly matched fight. Raven, good aggressive style. Sky's a great boxer. There's a big responsibility from those two to perform, because it's the first ever female world title fight on a Saudi show. You've got Jai Opetaia against Jack Massey. Jack Massey's going to ask a few questions. He's going to ask questions of Jai Opetaia. He's not just going to fall over. He's got loads of bottle, big pair of bollocks, and he's going to give it a good go in that fight. So it's a great fight. We've got, 1 second, Andrew. We've got, who else have we got on that card? I know I'm missing at least 2 more. Oh, Fraser Clark against Fabio Wardley.
I was going to say,
Probably the best fight I've seen in years. Them two. Definitely best heavyweight fight, right? It's the best heavyweight fight I've seen since fucking us. People trying to ring me. It's the best heavyweight fight I've seen for a long, long time. So that's a Sky main event. All of them fights I've just spoke to you about there are main event fights in their own rights. Yeah, whether it's Upper Tire against Jack Masson, that's a Saturday night main event. Sky Nicholson against Raven Chapman, that could be a main event fight because it's for the World Championship. Fabio Wood against Fraser Clark, there is an argument. There is an argument. I'm not saying there is before everyone goes, "Ah." There is an argument. That's a pay-per-view fight on its own after the first one. It does the O2 Arena. So how the hell can you complain about a card with that depth? Oh, well, this is... shut up. Shut up and enjoy the fights and enjoy the card. The main event alone, I would stay up for. I mean, I don't do the staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning anymore. But the main event alone is enough for me to get up out of my bed and watch that fight, let alone the whole card. I'm going to get up for the whole card and enjoy the whole card. So that's all I'm going to... Spencer Brown, who I know has worked tirelessly to put that card together with Turkey Al Sheikh and the other promoters, Eddie, Ben Shalom, Frank Warren. Just be happy everyone's working together and enjoy the fights and stop fucking moaning.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you, Sam. And the main event in itself is unmissable. But then when you sprinkle all that you've just said in there and the undercard...
I think I probably miss fights as well. I'll probably miss fights, but the Clark Wardley fight, I almost forgot to mention that one. It's a banger. What a banger that is. So just everybody, let's just be so grateful with what we're getting right now, which is an amazing cards, amazing main events, great undercards, stacked undercards, and enjoy the fights.
Definitely. And just staying on that slightly, but I do want to talk about the main event itself, but I want to stay on that sort of Shakur Stevenson and Joe Cordina, because for me, Sam, right, that lightweight division should be the most exciting division in boxing right now, with the Lomachenkos, the Tank Davis, the Shakur Stevensons, you're chucking Joe Cordina now, the Williams Cepedas, the Dennis Baranchiks.
Yeah.
Come on now, they're not fighting each other. They should all be fighting each other. And the lightweight division should be the most exciting division in boxing, but it isn't. I know
the fight I want to see is Shakur against Gervonta Davis. That's the fight I want to see. Zepeda, going to be a great fight, but the Tank fight against Shakur for me is the ultimate clash of styles. I think that's... And with His Excellency, Turkey Al Sheikh, with him involved in boxing right now, you're more than likely going to see it. Like, I know he had I don't want to go into that because we've already spoke, the Canelo Alvarez bickering situation. I think that relationship will get repaired. I think it's just a case of having a meeting, having a sit down, having some dinner, and that will get squashed, and then they'll do business together. I think the position boxing is at the moment, yes, the cards in the UK have probably not suffered's not the right word, but we're getting the fights we've always wanted. Do you know what I mean? We're getting these super fights, so we can't have it both ways. So let's just enjoy what we have in front of us right now.
Definitely. And even if the Lomachenko Tank or Lomachenko Shakur, I'm like, listen, make that fight and I'll be happy as well.
Absolutely.
Sam, I know you love boxing, and I know when you talk about the Gervonta Shakur Stevenson fight being a fight that is contrasted styles and stylistically it's a great fight, but when you look at Beterbiev and Bivol, that's two contrasting polar opposite styles. But I think, even though they're polar opposites, I think that's going to gel to possibly one of the fights of the year, if not the fight of the year.
Well, you watched Bivol. Like we've all watched Bivol's last fights. They've all been on Riyadh season cards. So his last 2 or 3 fights? Last 2? Definitely his last 2.
Definitely his last 2, yeah.
So Bivol is a beautiful boxer, right? A beautiful boxer. And we've seen him like half go through the gears in his last fights. I know it was against a below par opponent, someone that's not really on his level, but he went through the gears. Now, the Beterbiev we've been seeing is just a destructive machine that just punches so hard. They're not like big loaded up shots. They're just like stiff, hard, horrible shots. And I've always thought Bivol would be, especially after the Canelo fight, right? I always thought he would beat Beterbiev. I thought he'd just be too clever and too cute, too clever for him. But I do have a feeling if Beterbiev has not aged overnight, I know it's like probably trying to get out of the prediction, but if he's not grown old overnight, because he's suffered a lot of injuries over the last year or so, Beterbiev, and I think he's 39. If he's not, I fancy Beterbiev to win the fight, and I never did before, and I probably might change my mind. But I think I've looked at the forms, and Bivol's not really. What's the word, Andrew? I'm looking for. He's not really, since the Canelo fight. He's not like, he didn't impress me in the Lyndon Arthur fight, if I'm honest, and he didn't really like do anything special. I know he got the guy out of there, but Beterbiev, for me, if you look at his last two fights, I fancy Beterbiev in the fight, Andrew. That's what I'm trying to spit out and say.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It's like Bivol's got that elusive style, and he can, like, he doesn't get drawn into a fight. You just need to look at the Canelo fight. He didn't get drawn into the fight Canelo wanted. Canelo was waving him on. See, come on in.
Canelo's a lot smaller than Beterbiev,
Exactly.
though, Andrew.
So that's
a
what I'm
lot
going
smaller.
to say. Can he keep Beterbiev off him for 12 rounds? That's what I was going to say.
Well, that's what we're all going to be tuned in to watch. Like, it's such an amazing fight. Two contrasts of styles. It's the old saying, oh yeah, it's a complete clash of styles, but it really is a big clash of styles. Like, can Bivol keep the big monster off him? We'll see, but I'm sure we'll all tune in to see. But great fight.
Right, let's forget about all that nonsense, man. Let's talk about. I just want to talk about the video, mate. Let's just talk about.
Excuse me.
That's how excited. Yeah, that's how excited the video. Come on now. I know you spent a lot of time with Johnny Fisher and Big Ben and all that. Listen, their sort of Instagram pool has been hilarious, and that video of you, Adam Morley, and the taxi and all that sort of stuff, mate, hilarious stuff. Yeah, just talk to me about that whole. Just talk about the whole thing, mate. How excited are you?
It was always going to be like. Listen, I've not officially managed Johnny for 2 years, but like I've always been on the other end of a phone to Johnny. Like I speak to Johnny every day, even when I wasn't managing him, every day almost. I'm not exaggerating on that. Every day I'll speak to Johnny. So it's just kind of like it's organically happened. Like I think it was always going to happen. Me get involved because I turned Johnny professional, got him his first contract with Matchroom, I did all of that, and yeah, look, I'm not back with S-Jam, and S-Jam's not back with me. It's just me and Adam are jointly managing Johnny Fisher, and I'm really looking forward to getting my teeth back into it, because Johnny, biggest ticket seller in the country, and I think he's proven, especially over his last couple of fights, that he's not just a ticket seller. He can really fight. So really looking forward to the journey, the joining back onto the journey with Johnny Fisher, and see where we're going to end up, because nobody knows Johnny's ceiling. British title, European title, world title. Who knows? Who knows where we're going to get to? But it's going to be exciting, because nobody can pull a crowd like Johnny Fisher at the moment in this country.
Definitely. And it looks like maybe, I don't know what's happening at the end of the year. It's probably got 2 fights left for the end of the year we're excited about. And I said to you, maybe the last time I spoke to you, the last couple of times I spoke to you, I said, Sam, you need to get a heavyweight. And I tell you what, you've got a good one in Johnny Fisher there, because
I remember you saying that to me, and I was laughing because I was thinking, wait, give me a couple of weeks.
Listen, well, you mentioned nobody knows his ceiling, Sam, but obviously you're a manager, right? So you, in your head, you're mapping out fights. You're mapping out this year. You're mapping maybe the start of next year, where he goes. I know there's talk of Australia, fighting out Australia, because he's got a good following out there. I know he was meant to be on the Prograis and the Sheffield card and Cattle card as well. So he's going to be busy, right? So you've got a map of where he's going to go in his career in the next maybe year, right? You mentioned that nobody knows his ceiling. Surely you've got an idea, do you? How far this man can go?
Yeah, listen, I'm quietly confident, Andrew. But it's like when Johnny gets interviewed, and I said this on the other interview as well, people will say, oh, you're going to fight Derek Chisora, you're going to fight Dillian White, you're going to fight... Now, Johnny will respond, and then the clickbait will be, Johnny wants to fight, or he's going to fight Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora, British boxing legend. If that fight presented itself for Johnny would jump at the chance. And it's an 0-2 sellout, and Dillian White. But Johnny is on his own path, and these fights will happen when they happen. Johnny's in a fortunate position where he's not the B side of these fights. I'm not saying he would be he'd be the A side against Chisora or Dillian White, whatever. But like these other heavyweights below that tier, Johnny's the big A side in all of that. He's the big A side because he draws the crowd. He pulls in the money. So we're in an exciting position with Johnny Fisher, and look, one fight at a time. He's fighting Rudenko, and then we'll look at everything else after that. But genuinely, one fight at a time.
I was going to ask though. You said one fight at a time there, and I was going to ask like how realistic is sort of like a Chisora fight? Because Chisora,
Who knows, Andrew? Who knows? You never know the mad world we live in at the moment. Derek Chisora likes money, doesn't he? So who knows? Who knows? But if it does happen, then it'll be unbelievable, and it'll be an honor for Johnny to share a ring with someone, a legend like Derek. But Derek's going to do what Derek wants to do. Says he's got 2 fights left. He's never ducked or dodged anyone, Derek Chisora, in his whole life. So I don't think he would look at that as it's just Derek. Derek has the right to pick and choose who he wants to fight now, to see out his 50 fights. And good luck to Derek. I've got a lot of time for Derek Chisora. Respect him so much for what he is and how he fights. And that's why the British boxing fans absolutely adore him, and rightfully so.
Listen, and you talk about the O2, Johnny Fisher, Chisora. I mean, I think you need something back. Could you do Wembley? Could you?
I don't know, but definitely the O2 Arena would be full to the brim.
Definitely, mate. I just want one final one on this. Yeah, that video on Instagram, mate. You need to work on your run. That's the first time I've seen you run. You need some work.
It was more for effect, that one, Andrew.
Was
it was more for
Okay.
effect. To be fair, mate, I'm getting better at running. To be fair, I'm doing my regular 5Ks now on the treadmill. I'm still not the best road runner. But yeah, it was more for effect. I took one for the team in that video. It was the jokes were all at my expense. So I'm a team player, Andrew. What can I say?
Definitely, mate. And you're always up for a laugh, which is good to see. Staying on another one of your fighters, Sami Hamed. He's fighting in the Misfits.
He's the one that keeps ringing me now. Do you know the screen keeps going black and I have to keep rejecting it? He's the one that keeps ringing me. Honestly, I think he's rung me 4 times on this call. So
well, keep it quick then. When you phone him back, tell him you're doing an interview and we're talking about him. So yeah. We all know, son of the great Prince Nassim. He's fighting on a Misfits card. Forgive me, Sam, because I'm not too clued up on these Misfits. I don't know. Is it Jesse Clark he's fighting?
Jay Clark.
Listen, I don't know.
Or Jesse Clark.
I don't know where I got that from, Jesse Clark. I just think it's a misfit name, to be honest.
Listen. He's a big guy. He's a big guy who he's fighting. A lot bigger than Sami, naturally. Both never boxed before. That's a fact. I know you see Sami training. Sami's never had a competitive fight in his whole life. Sami might he might do a couple of fights or this fight and win. Like, I've got no doubts about it because Sami carries natural power, right? He does. He carries natural power. Sami might box and think, I don't really want to do this. And Sami needs a lot of credit, right? Because he got offered huge deals to turn professional. And Sami, I'm going to test myself out, do the Misfits, have a bit of fun, and then we'll go from there kind of thing. But he might decide he loves the Misfits scene and stay on with the Misfits. We've got a multi-fight agreement with Mams Taylor and Misfits. And really enjoying working with those guys as well. Great fun to deal with. They've got great ideas and they're really ambitious. Mams Taylor, very ambitious people. So there's some great plans for Sami after this fight if he enjoys what he's doing. But Sami's worked his bollocks off. He really has. He's worked so hard in the gym. And I've got no doubts about it. He will be the star performer next week, Andrew.
I'm looking for. Listen, I don't know me tuning. I think Coogan's asked me if I want to go over and do it with Joe. So I'm 50-50 just now. Whether I'll go.
Get yourself over, and we'll have a non-alcoholic Guinness together, Andrew. What are you doing? Get yourself over. What the fuck else are you doing next week?
Well, if I go there, mate, I probably want to pick a fight. To be honest, nothing. I'm doing nothing next week. To be fair.
Well, there you go. You can go and pick a fight. We'll go and pick a fight for you to fight on Misfits, Andrew. How about that?
Sam, if you get me a fight on Misfits, I'll give you 10% more than what you normally take for your management's fee.
I don't want 10% from you, Andrew. We should go over there.
More. I said 10% more. 10% more.
I'll do that for free for you, Andrew. You're my friend. You're my guy.
Promise.
Let's go.
Let's fucking do it, man. Let's do it.
Let's go over there. Start some argy-bargy with somebody, and then say, "Let's go."
Yeah, I'd smoke all of them, man. I'm confident. I'm that confident. I would light everybody up.
Why don't you fight Anthony Taylor? He's on the card next week. He's up for a row with anybody.
Yeah, let's do him, man. Because I know who he is. He's just a little game.
There you go, then. So go over there and say, "Let's go."
Imagine that. Fuck it. Yeah, let's do this, man. I'm actually pumped now. I'm going to do 10 press ups and go to my bed.
There you go. We'll go over there, non-alcoholic Guinness, have a nice steak at the Black Forge, and we're fucking rocking and rolling, Andrew.
Let's do it. Sam, listen, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend. It's always good to see you. Always good to speak to you. And listen, who knows? I'll see you out in Dublin next week, mate. Until the next one. Thank you, brother.
Take care. See you next week.
Cheers, brother. Thank you.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.